SoCal Filipinos celebrates Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Today, we feature Mabuhay ang Mga Pilipina 2022 with Eileen Dimailig, Elsa Mata, Rainier Balingit. Please welcome your host, Sweeney Mae.
Just kidding. I love that sound. I've been requesting Jason to extend that so that I can enter the room and dance, because it always sounds like it's about to, we're about to break it down in here. It's a party all the time here in SoCal Filipinos. Hello, everyone. If you're just now tuning in, we're going to talk about a really, really great topic today. It has everything to do with women's health. And I urge you guys right now, if you're tuning in, to please hit the share button. Where is it? Probably this side, right? Hit the share button right there and share it on your page. Share it in group chats that you're in, because we're going to be talking about something very, very important. Like I said, it's going to be women's health right now. So thank you guys for tuning in. We are going to be discussing hashtag Mabuhay ang Mga Pilipina 2022. And it's a campaign to help increase awareness of early cancer screening, especially in the Filipino community. So I want to see, and I'm tuned in right here too on my phone, because I want to see who's in and watching right now. And again, if you guys are watching, you guys can actually ask questions also. Use the comment box, either if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, and I believe we're also on Twitch. You guys can use the comment section to definitely share your questions too, so that we can have this discussion, right? We don't often talk about, well, at least I don't often talk about it. So I'm so happy that we're talking about it today. And, thank you to everyone that are tuning in. And again, please make sure you share. And before we get to introducing our guests, I actually want to just do a few announcements. The SoCal Filipinos celebrates their second year anniversary on June 18th. Whoop, whoop. Filipino, cue music. No, I'm just kidding. But thanks to all the sponsors that we have so far, especially Kumu USA, Island Pacific, Bayani Pay, and more. If you'd like more information on sponsorships or on how to be a part of this grand celebration, please contact Jason at socalfilipinos@gmail.com. So good evening, everyone. Magandang gabi, or wherever you're tuning in. To all our viewers right now, if you're tuning in, do us a big favor and hit that share button, because we are talking about something very important today. The world needs to know. The world does. And first of all, happy AAPI month. And if you're not woke and tapped in, AAPI stands for Asian American Pacific Islander. And this month, the month of May, is the month for AAPI. We're celebrating everyone, especially Filipinos. And last week, we interviewed Ava Severy from the HBO Max show, The Garcias, and we're going to continue the celebration with today's very important topic, women's health, specifically Asian women's health, and even more specifically, Filipino women's health. And I'm excited to introduce our guests, actually, as a part of our AAPI celebration here in SoCal Filipinos. We have partnered with the California Health Collaboratives, Every Woman Counts in Los Angeles, and Cedars Sinai, Cedars Sinai Cancer and Comprehensive Community Health Centers, to celebrate women's health during this month. They have developed a month-long campaign called hashtag Mabuhay ang Mga Pilipina 2022 that aims to increase cancer screening rates among the Filipino community. Let's welcome our guests. First guest we have is Eileen Dimailig. Welcome her to the screen. Woohoo, yay. Second guest, we have Rainier Balingit. Welcome to the screen. And then our last guest is Elsa Mata. Welcome to the screen. Yay. Thank you. Welcome, guys. Thanks, Jason, for flipping it. You guys can Unmute yourselves now. The goal of Mabuhay and ang mga Pilipino 2022 is to educate the Filipino community in Los Angeles on the importance of early detection and encourage them to get screened. And today we are going to discuss some common myths and facts about HPV, cervical cancer, and breast cancer specifically. Welcome, ladies. Hi. Let's start off by having each one of you introduce yourselves to our viewers today. How, first of all, introduce, how did you get involved in this campaign? What is your position? Who are you affiliated with? And how did you get involved with this campaign? Let's start with Eileen.
Sure. All right. Hi, everyone. First of all, I just wanted to thank SoCal Filipinos. Sweeney, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about this very important topic today. So my name is Eileen Dimailig. I am actually an intern with the Every Woman Counts program, Los Angeles, and I am currently a Master's of Public Health student with Benedictine University, expected to graduate at the end of the month. So, we definitely developed this campaign with that in mind, kind of a capstone for my Master's of Public Health program, but also, just in partnership with Every Woman Counts Los Angeles.
All right. And then let's go with Rainier.
Thanks, Sweeney. Hi, everyone. My name is Rainier Balingit, and my pronouns are she, hers, and siya. And I'm a Filipino American. I immigrated from Zambales, Philippines, but now currently based in Los Angeles. I'm here today to represent Cedars Sinai Cancer Community Outreach and Engagement, and my role is the Filipino Community Outreach Coordinator. So I get to work with the community members to make sure that we're healthy and that we're preventing cancer through education and health promotion. I am also a Master of Public Health student at Claremont Graduate University, and thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you. And last but not the least, Elsa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elsa Mata. I am an intern at Every Woman Counts. I am a full-time student at CASA LA. I am going to graduate with my bachelor's degree in public health in 3 weeks.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So, if you guys are now just tuning in, make sure you guys are sharing this because we're going to be talking about some really juicy subjects here today. Well, first of all, thank you, ladies. And I just met you actually last week. I attended the workshop that you guys did and listened to, all the important things that we need to know. And I think that I commend you guys for doing this and for, it's a labor of love, right? Yeah. It's a labor of love, but those are the things that are always really, really meaningful because every effort that you put into it is just all about, your passion and everything that you believe in, right? So, and speaking of things that people don't want to talk about, I would like for us to actually play a little game before we get to the nitty gritty of things. And I'm gonna call this next section right here, Bust the Red Cup Myths. It's hard to say. It's hard to say that fast. Bust the Red Cup Myths. There you go. And I have a red cup here, and inside are some myths that we're gonna try and bust. And just to kind of set the mood, I will go first. Let's see. The first topic that we're going to be talking about is HPV, actually. So the first myth that I have here is I've had a pap test. And it was normal. So I don't need another one. Actually learned this the answer to this question or to this myth from your guys' workshop. So the answer to this, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, you can add on to it. Again, the myth is I've had a pap test and it was normal, so I don't need another one ever. So the truth is that if you've had a pap test, terrific, but one is not enough. And routine screening allows your healthcare team to detect abnormalities before they become cancer. Cervical cancer is preventable. So pap smear isn't just a one-time thing. So you ladies, can you guys share with us, like how often should a grown woman get her pap smear test?
Yeah.
Eileen, go ahead. I'm just gonna call you out because you guys are like, which one? Okay, Eileen, go ahead.
Well, we'll go into this a little bit further later, but starting at 21, we need a PAP or HPV test every 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. So you guys take notes, huh? 3 to 5 years. Since we've had COVID and all of that, like, how delayed are you on your PAP test? Make sure you're on top of that. Okay, I'm gonna pass this cup to Rainier because she's the next one to answer the question. Get it, girl.
Thank you.
Woo! Check that out. Check that pass.
All right. Our second myth: only girls need the HPV vaccine. So this is actually false. It's not just females. Actually, everyone need an HPV vaccine, regardless of your reproductive organs or how you identify your sexuality. And just as a reminder, HPV means human papilloma virus, and the HPV vaccine is an immunization that protects against different types of HPV infections that may lead to genital warts or even cancer. And some of these cancers include cervix, the mouth, the throat, anus, and penis. So everyone needs to get the HPV vaccine, and this can really protect yourself and also your partners, especially if you're sexually active. So yes, it's for everybody. All right, I'm gonna pass it on.
Hold on 1 second before you pass.
Yes.
So only girls need the HPV vaccine, and of course you said it's false. I mean, how often do you guys hear that? Like, you guys are in the medical field. How often do you hear people say, "Oh, just girls need HPV vaccine"?
In my experience, it's actually even girls don't even know that they have to get it. So it really is a conversation for everyone. And so just even girls don't know it. I'm assuming guys don't even know it as well. So yeah, I think we need to start this conversation. But for sure, I think I hear it from my doctor. So I think also men or males should advocate for themselves to talk to their doctors about it too.
And is it common for males to get checked when it comes to HPV?
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
can answer this one for you, Rainier. So one thing is there is really no test for males for HPV. It's all preventative. That's why the HPV vaccine is so good, because you can prevent it from passing on, and it you have a greater immune system when you get the vaccine. So it's just preventative care for males, and obviously males don't have those tests. There's really no testing for them, but as for us female, we do have to get the HPV test or the PAP test during that time.
Yeah, and I heard that sadly parents don't realize this, but the vaccine it's a way to prevent cancer too. So you parents out there, if you guys are watching, you have daughters, make sure that you look into HPV vaccine. It could really save a life, right? Okay. So Elsa, it's your turn. Passing the red cup to Elsa. See this.
So my myth is, once someone is infected with HPV, they are infected for life. That is not true. The majority of people, especially if you get your vaccine, it gets treated within 6 months. Your body usually fights it, and that's why you need a regular HPV test, just in case your body doesn't fight it. They could catch that early, and they could give you any care that you need during that time. So usually you're really not infected for life. Usually you could fight it yourself without any antibiotics or anything like that within 6 months.
Awesome. Good myths. And if you guys are tuning in, if you guys have any questions about HPV as well, make sure that right now we're talking about HPV. Make sure that you guys type it in the chat so we can get it answered. Okay, it's Eileen's turn. Pass that red cup, Elsa.
You ready?
Yes.
Thank you, Elsa.
You're welcome.
All right. So the myth that I got: if I am monogamous, there is no need to get cervical screening. Wow, this is a big one. I mean, I feel like this is one that we probably hear a lot from other people. And actually, the reality is it's recommended that everyone with a cervix begin routine cervical screening at 21 years of age. We mentioned that earlier too. PAP or HPV testing every 3 to 5 years. And this is regardless of sexual activity or inactivity.
Mm-hmm. Man, all right. Thank you for busting some of those myths and for passing the red cups. We're gonna fill it up some more with some more myths because we're gonna play that a little bit later again. But while we're on the subject of HPV, Rainier, what does HPV stand for again? Someone has to type it in the chat.
Papilloma virus. I know it's so long.
It is. And I love that we busted the myth that once you have it doesn't mean you'll have it for life, because that's actually what I thought before. I thought that once you have an abnormal pap test, that means that you have HPV and then you're never going to get rid of it. But then instances happen when your next pap is actually normal. So you can, your body can fight it off. So stay healthy. Stay healthy, you guys. What are other HPV myths that we didn't kind of grab in the cup today that we would like to share with everyone else? Does anyone else have a myth that they want to share about the HPV? Oh, and I want to say too that I love that we talked about how it's not just the girls, it's the guys too, because you know what? They always said, well, I've always known that guys are carriers and they infect the girls. So it becomes this like battle of the sexes, like all of a sudden, right? So they carry it, they can infect the women, but the guys show no signs. But then the women will have abnormal paps test or like even be at risk for cervical cancer and all that. And then they say like the men just go on with life with no symptoms and no repercussions of HPV. Is that true?
It's not at all true. That whole thing about, men are carriers and women get HPV, it's actually false. Men can get HPV. And, I know Elsa mentioned earlier that, there's not really a test for men for HPV, and that's completely right. But there is a way to test it, right? And I know you all ladies know this too, but the way to test it is to actually put like a Q-tip, I think about this long, up the shaft of a male's penis and, get cell samples that way.
And this is why they don't get tested. Just ouch for them.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue. And then what?
No, that's basically it. Like there's a way to test it. It's just, that is the test for it. And also cancer of the mouth and throat is also rise among men and women, and that is also caused by HPV. So, yeah.
Wow.
HPV fact.
Go ahead.
I just said another HPV fact.
Yeah, wow, it's more dangerous than we think, right? And I'm totally picturing any man that's listening right now. It's like, yep, is there another way to test this? No, that's the only way. Okay. Well, how did you guys, I want to kind of go back to the whole campaign name, right? And Jason, if you want to like do the ticker at the bottom with the hashtag, how did you guys come up with this hashtag? Was it pretty natural? Was it fast? Did it take you a while to think of this? Who thought of it? Like, I want to know about this hashtag Mabuhay ang mga Pilipina 2002.
2022.
Sorry, 2022.
No, I'm just kidding, but I'm just playing. But when we were coming up with the campaign title, we actually had different ideas, right? At first we came up with some other titles like, walang hiya or hindi ako mahihiya, like kind of bringing that empowerment piece and taking, a negative connotation and kind of bringing it into like a positive light, because breast and cervical cancer can be a really sensitive topic in our community. whether it be due to religious beliefs or just, some kind of like embarrassment or fear. But when we were focusing on the campaign title, we were like, we want to choose something that emphasizes the idea of empowerment. Screening, taking charge of your own health is very empowering. Again, especially if you have some form of hesitancy, whether it be like the fear or, your religious beliefs. So ultimately, we decided on Mabuhay ang mga Pilipina because it's such an empowering phrase for us. Mabuhay can mean many things. It can be like a greeting, or even, like cheers. But another translation is also, and kind of what we wanted to convey is, mabuhay ang mga Pilipina, long live Filipinas. More Filipinas are dying due to cancers, and we want to really say, like, long live Filipinas, live your life, please do what you can, get screened, take preventative measures, and live a great quality life.
Awesome. Does anyone else wanted to add on to that? Like, I know, how did you guys get connected?
So I just wanted to add on to what Eileen said. So one of the things why I really like Mabuhay ang mga Pilipina, well, the 2022 because of the year, but it's because the incidence rate for Filipino women of death rates is higher than any, like, compared to whites. So mabuhay, because long live, so like early screenings could really save someone's life for those for cervical and breast cancer, especially breast cancer, since it's one of the tops for the Filipino community. And Eileen and I got connected through Every Woman Counts. We're both interns there. And when we started the campaign, the supervisor for Every Woman Counts, Jennifer, she brought Rainier from Cedars Sinai to come join the campaign, and we told her what we were gonna do with the community, and Rainier she joined, and here we are.
Yeah, so at Cedars Sinai Cancer, so there is a section for Filipino. Filipinos are the largest in Los Angeles, and so my role is actually, working with the community, the Filipino community, and really addressing cancer disparities in Los Angeles. And so Cedars Sinai Cancer and Every Woman Counts have had a long-standing relationship. We've done partnerships in the Korean community, and now we really want to tackle our Filipino community because of what we're seeing. Especially, we did a large sample study, I think 2 years ago, on the Filipino American, and we found that there are 3 top cancers that are affecting our community, which are breast cancers, colorectal, and prostate cancers. And so this partnership is really meaningful because we're aligning our efforts, and we're really working with the communities and people who are already doing this work to just amplify the work. So I'm really glad to have had this partnership, of course, also with SoCal Filipinos.
Awesome. And have you, or did you, or are you running into any challenges at all in trying to push this? Because it's very specific, like just for the Filipino community, right? Although the topic is the umbrella topic is women's health, and then you guys really want to push the Filipino community. Were you well, do you have access to some stats, or are you going to be paying attention to that, like hoping that this specific campaign will actually like move the needle as far as like how many people will actually get screened, and etc. What challenges are you facing, or do you foresee facing in pushing this campaign?
Yeah, thanks, Sweeney. So we've at Cedars Sinai Cancer, we have had an effort to work with the community and identifying some cancer navigators to really be the liaison and to be the forefront on educating our community and promoting cancer screening. And we've had some successes, but of course, there's still some challenges. So we've learned that there's still a lot of stigma that exists. So there is this notion in our community of bahala na, which is it is what it is. And so, our community members, our Filipino community members are just working and working and working. And they have this notion of, if I get it, I get it, right? Or if I get it, it's because God wanted, or God, it was what God wanted in my life, right? So
And
yeah.
let's be real. Some people say, if I die, I die. It's my time.
Yes, yeah, I hear that from my family members a lot too, and there's a lot of stigma, and so it's really funny too, because a lot of my family members are in the medical field, and yet they're not getting screened, or they're not seeking help, and it's still really like weird to kind of understand why. And in some of our surveys, we found that it's the cost. So there's a perception that it's too much money. I don't want to spend money on that, or I don't have time. Like a lot of people are working, working, and they don't have time to go get screened. And then yeah, I think it's just they really, there's really a stigma, and we need to break that barrier. And so we're finding ways to spread the information and destigmatize those myths.
Awesome. Eileen, did you have anything to add as far as just challenges of you guys, this is your labor of love. And like, what do you foresee that you'll run into as challenges? Or maybe you've already ran into some challenges. I'd love to know.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the challenges too that we're running into when, really outreaching for the campaign is getting more Filipino serving organizations involved. Definitely SoCal Filipinos has been super supportive and getting this message out. But there are so many Filipino serving organizations in LA County, and we'd love to get this message out to them, to get it to their contacts, right, and their audience, and so that'll allow us to spread the message even further. So yeah, I think also that.
Yeah, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm starting well, not starting, but like I thought about it, and like it must be tough, like a lot of the content out there is like singing and dancing and magic and this and that, and you're like, can we talk about women's health real quick? Like how so it's like you almost have to like kind of pivot real quick, like how can we, even when we spoke, right, like how can we make this interesting? It's almost like when we talk about our health, we have to figure out a way to make it like interesting, but it's okay, because I mean, I'm a number one believer of like edutainment, like educate with entertainment, so it's fine. Elsa, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, what like Eileen said, usually it's really hard to talk about, who wants to talk about this stuff, but it's important to talk about. So we really need to get that word out there and have like, other Filipino organization come like contact us to like get the word out for everybody, so we can get everybody screened and get the cancer screening recommendations out there for everybody to know.
Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that. If you guys are just now tuning in, I just want to let you know that we're talking about women's health right now, specifically HPV, cervical cancer, and breast cancer, because those things are preventable if you do the work to just get screened, So I just want to let you guys know that that's the topic that we're talking about. It's hashtag Mabuhay mga Pilipina 2022. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you share. There's a share button down there. Also, you can ask questions as well. So I do want to get now to the emotional part of this whole project. Is I want to know, what are your whys? Why did you get involved in this campaign? I'll start with Eileen.
Yeah. I feel like there are a lot of whys in my way. Like I wanted to do something for the Filipino community. A lot of time in my career, I've worked with, other populations, but I've never focused on working with my community before. So it was something I was super interested in. And in addition to that, it's really dedicated to all the women in my family. And my mom especially, my mom, and I, will definitely, I feel like we're going to share a video about it later. So I don't want to get too much into it, but my mom definitely had some bouts with some of her health issues.
We can actually share that video right now. Right now would be the perfect time as you guys like share your testimonials. For sure. Did you want to share that video and talk about it afterwards?
Yeah, sure. Whatever flows best.
Okay. let's share the video. You guys, they prepared a video. Go, Jason. Go ahead when you're ready. Whenever you're ready.
My why. Her name is Raida Di Mailig, Ida for short. A former nurse and one of the most hardworking women I know. She immigrated to the States in the 80s, worked odd jobs until she finally became a certified nursing assistant, and her story went on from there. She always makes things happen, always knows where everything is, and has the kindest heart. A few years ago, my mom was having a lot of health problems. It seemed like she was always sick and in the emergency room. Being a nurse, you'd expect someone in the medical field to be super on top of their checkups, screenings, and their overall health. Unfortunately, the life of an ICU nurse is also a busy and stressful one. She was always working long shifts, and it felt like she was behind on checkups. One day, she was getting a routine mammogram, and the doctors found something. They told us it wasn't cancer, but she still needed treatment, and even had a small surgical procedure. Hearing the words "they found something" from my dad terrified me. As the only child, I feel responsible for my parents. In our culture, the children take care of their parents, and that's how I've always been raised. In that moment, I felt some type of responsibility, even though ultimately, it's no one's fault. I'm confident that screening and early detection saved her life. I've heard of too many stories in our community of women who were diagnosed too late, even in my own extended family. And this is why this message, this information, this campaign means so much to me. I want to hear more stories about the successes of screening, not the stories about the regret.
I love that. That was a perfect video.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for sharing. So I don't know if you wanted to talk more about that video and about that process, the
Yeah,
experience.
I mean, I definitely wanted to, I guess, just conclude it with saying that screening, I feel, really did save her life. It really supported her and our family, and routine screening is what helps, kind of keep us calm too, right? Knowing that everything is okay. So that's why I was so passionate about this campaign and kind of my why, because that's the message I want to put forward. Treatment, of course, is so important, but as Elsa mentioned earlier, preventative measures are super important as well.
Awesome. Okay, well let's go ahead and show our next video, maybe Elsa's video. So then we'll have Elsa also share, and then after that we'll share in yours shortly after.
I am the youngest of 6 kids. My parents worked really hard to feed their children, and sometimes all we ate was rice. My parents had me at an older age, so taking care of me was quite difficult. My tita, I called her Ima, was always there to look after me. She made sure I was fed every day, made sure I was clothed. I always remember her coming over to our house and having this big smile on her face, making sure I had everything I needed. She was such an amazing woman. I don't know where I would have been if she wasn't there to take care of me. I left the Philippines when I was 6. She stayed behind. The year she was supposed to come to the US, she was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. Back then, every doctor appointment and every surgery was paid out of pocket. So when we finally got the money together to get her lump removed, she was already in stage 3. She needed a double mastectomy. By the time surgery came around, it had already spread to other organs. It was stage 4 breast cancer. She lived another 6 months after her surgery. It was a tough time for my family. Now I think to myself, what if she came here to the US sooner and was diagnosed here? It would have been treated sooner. It wouldn't have had the extra time to spread. Here, she could have used Every Woman Counts services for free screening and timely diagnostics and other services that help people pay for their treatment, such as the breast and cervical cancer treatment program. 6 months ago, when I was looking for an internship, it happened again. Another tita was diagnosed with breast cancer. This time it was stage 1. It was only the size of a pea. She told me, I do self-examination every month and never felt any lump. I only got the mammogram because a doctor recommended it to me. That doctor and the mammogram saved my tita's life, and now I'm doing everything I can to tell everyone in my family and all my friends about the importance of routine screenings, what the recommendations are, and what they should be talking about with their provider. This is why this campaign is so important to me. I want all the titas out there watching this to schedule your screening now and talk to your family about cancer screening. Make sure family members are getting screening as well. Even if no one in your family has had it, in my family, no one had cancer until my tita. Though it might be scary to think about, it's better to catch it early, because that early detection can save your life.
Early detection is definitely key. Elsa, thank you for putting that video together. Any last comment or like conclusion about that video?
Nothing. I just watching that video just makes me so sad. It's just very sentimental, like this campaign is so important to all three of us, like we all had somebody affected, and I'm sure we all know somebody who was affected by it. And just rewatching that video just makes me very emotional.
Yeah, and I mean, you spoke about your auntie in the Philippines. I mean, I am not really like very knowledgeable about technology in the Philippines, but I always hear that it's, of course, it's way better in America, the technology for, medicine wise. And so um, yeah, I don't know how our people back home cope, if they have programs like this that like encourage them to get, screened early and all that stuff. So I'm glad you guys are definitely doing this. Thank you for sharing that. And then we have another video from Rainier.
Story of my mom, an only child who was abandoned by her father at a young age and raised by her mother who had lost the fight to cancer. My grandmother was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer at the age of 60. She felt a lump on the right side of her breast, and after a biopsy, they found that the lump was cancerous and has already spread throughout her body. It has been 36 years, and to this day, my mom still carries this pain and loss in her heart behind these smiles. There's not a day that my mom fails to remind us that she's all alone in this world, even though we're all here for her. My mom was angry. She said that it could have been prevented if only we weren't so poor. My grandmother went to chemotherapy 3 times a month for the next 6 months until her body couldn't handle the radiation anymore and the cancer cells have ruptured through her skin. My grandmother didn't have health insurance in the Philippines. They had to use all of their retirement funds to pay for chemotherapy. They had to travel 4 hours from the province to Manila through the bus every time they had to go to the hospital because it was the only place that had chemotherapy at the time. They would sleep with relatives because they couldn't afford housing in the city, and no one was able to help them financially, emotionally, and physically. If given the chance, my mom wants to say to my grandmother that she really admires her for all the sacrifices that she has made. As a single mom in the rural countryside, my grandmother did the best that she could to raise my mom until her last breath. Now, my mom takes care of her health because she knows that she is at higher risk. Every 2 years, my mom has been getting checked for mammogram and she has never missed an appointment. She's thankful for the health insurance that she has now, which is very convenient and efficient. She makes sure that she takes advantage of it because she didn't have it before. She told me that when the time comes for me to get mammograms, I shouldn't be scared because it's better to know early than wait until it's too late. My mom doesn't want me to experience the same pain that she carries in her heart. She wants to be healthy for me and my brothers, and I will do the same.
I thought your mom was about to go live with us. Hi, Mom. No, thank you for sharing that. Any conclusion for your video, Rainier?
Yeah, I think it's really crazy because my grandmother was actually not in any of those photos, and in reflection, I never got to meet her. So it is also very, yeah. It's really just seeing that playback again. It's really hard to see because my mom grew up without having a family member or her mom with her, and so she really had to raise herself. And it's so important for us for us to really take care of ourselves, because we don't want that pain of, we don't want to, I don't know. To me, it's just talking to my mom too, and like learning about her story. It's really heartbreaking, because she really had to raise herself, and she really doesn't want any of us to go through the same thing. And so she just tries to take care of herself, and even until now, she feels that heartbreak, and she hasn't been able to move on from it. And she, at the young age, I remember her telling me to check, to do a self-evaluation, because she's worried. She's worried about the hereditary, and whether or not she's gonna get it or I'm gonna get it. And so it's always been kind of instilled in us. And it's good that we know. And but still, I think for us, it's very heartbreaking to, one, for me not grow up with a grandparent, and for her to not grow up with a mom. So yeah, I think it's just really important to get screened, so we catch it earlier on. I think it's better that we know early than wait till it's too late.
Yeah, definitely. And we also have a few of our ambassadors for SoCal Filipinos that also shared some of their story in the chat group. We have Edmund, who said, definitely saved my mom's life. I'm reading his comment. She was diagnosed in October 2021, and it was detected very early in one breast in its initial stages. She had a double mastectomy a few weeks later, and no trace of cancer found afterwards. She has been cancer free ever since. And then we also have another ambassador, Kathleen, that also said that her mom, well, I'm just going to quote her. She says, my mom got lucky while my auntie in the Philippines did not. But yes, it's so important to always get checked, especially for females. Early detection gives the individual more time and higher chances of beating it. Yes, thank you, ladies, for sharing that. And thank you to some of our SoCal Filipino ambassadors for also sharing your story. I think one of the things that I notice and realize right now is a lot of your stories are definitely of your loved ones, of your mom, of your auntie, and even these testimonials from SoCal Filipinos, because I think that at the end of the day, a lot of our listeners are maybe millennials or Gen Z. And we need to help out our parents, the mature people in the household, or maybe not physical household, but in the family, to just remind them, like, hey auntie, when's the last time that you did this? Or hey mom, when's the last time you had your mammogram? When's the last time? Sometimes it feels intrusive, but hey, whatever. Do you guys, I've never had to say, hey tita, when's the last time you had a mammogram? I've never, but like, after this discussion, it just made me think, like, while we're catching up, after they say all their fun comments now, we need to remind them, like, okay, how about that mammogram though? How are you doing that? Do you find yourself asking your aunties or anyone for that matter? I mean, it's kind of hard, right, to just not open up with that, but just to talk about it in general.
I think it's hard for like any of us to talk about, like, when was the last time you really went up to your friends, like, hey, did you get a pap test? You know what I mean? But we have to make it normal. You care about these people, you care about everyone. So you have to talk about it. So you educate yourself first on what the recommendations are, and then you could educate everybody else. You could tell them, oh, you should get a mammogram, you should get a HPV or pap test. I just feel like we should normalize talking about it.
Definitely. And I know, speaking of HPV too, there's, like we talked about, the vaccine, which hasn't always been around, right? Like it's like, I think, only been around the last several years. And so some people who are not educated or updated with medicine, yeah, over 20 years. And so if you're not educated, you might have just gone with the information you have, which is like, there's no cure for it, that's it. Yeah, you have HPV and that's just it. But now there is a shot. And can one of you guys kind of talk about like who can get this shot, at what age, how many shots do you need? Eileen?
Yeah, of course. The shot is given when children are between ages 9 to 11. And it is a series of, I believe, 3 shots.
2 shots before 15, right?
Yes, yes, sorry about that. Yeah, so it is a series of shots, and yeah, it's best given to young people, um, ages 9 to 11. It's completely safe and effective. And to clarify, it's a 2-dose schedule, right? Beginning at 15, it's a 3-dose series, like you mentioned, Sweeney. And it is recommended for ages 9 to 26. So, for example, you mentioned earlier, like if you didn't know about the shot, you can still get it up to 26 years old.
Mhm. I was always curious why that is 26. I guess it has something to do with our bodies, right? But yeah, if you guys are listening and you didn't know, you guys have daughters, sisters, or whatever, make sure, ask them, hey, have you gotten the HPV vaccine? Because what does that prevent? Cervical cancer. It helps prevent cervical cancer.
Remember,
By the
Sweeney, males have to get it as well.
Oh yes, thank you. Males can get it as well, and like I didn't know that either. And that by the time we're 26, we're probably already been exposed. That's why, uh, yeah, up to 26 years old. And the vaccine doesn't help after we've been exposed. That's understandable. So, if you haven't been exposed to HPV, make sure you get the vaccine to prevent that. And again, thank you guys for sharing. If you guys are just now tuning in, let me do a quick reset. We are discussing women's health right now, and specifically the campaign called hashtag Mabuhay ang mga Pilipina 2022. And we have here Rainier, Eileen, and Elsa, who are all spearheading this campaign so we can increase awareness and encourage more of our people, especially our Filipina people, to get screened. Because, like we said earlier, when's the last time you just said, "Hey, Tita, how are you? How's that? How's that dinuguan? Great." So, when's the last time you got screened? When's the last time you had a mammogram? So that's definitely important. And I'd like to, let's see, I'm reading some comments here. Yes, Tita Che is viewing us right now. What's up, Tita Che? And she sends her love and thank you. Thank you so much. Her mom, can I share that? Yes. Let me know, Jason, if I can share that first. Just kidding. I just don't know. Anyway, we are going to, speaking of breast cancer, we are going to get through another red cup myth, bust the red cup myth. And this time we're going to talk about breast cancer myths. I don't know why I just whispered that. I hope you heard it. I hope you heard me whispering that. Okay, here's the red cup. I just filled it with some more questions. And let's see. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys share, so more people can know about this. And we're gonna have some announcements after this, at the end of this thing, to maybe some incentives, right, to attend some workshops. So anyway, I'm gonna do the first myth. Here we go. The myth says, there's no history of breast cancer in my family, so this means I don't have to worry about it. That's a myth. Reality is that more than 80% of breast cancers occur in women with absolutely no family history. And the main risk factors are having breast tissue and female hormones and getting older. So just because you don't have breast cancer history within your family doesn't mean you won't get it. So make sure that you still get that screening. So next myth, Rainy, are you ready? Here you go.
All right, our next myth is, I've already had a mammogram and it was expected, so I don't need another one. Okay, yeah, no, that's great that you had your mammogram, but that one is not enough. So it's recommended that you get your mammogram at age 40, and then you have to get your mammograms regularly every 1 to 2 years. The reason is because our bodies are still changing, so we want to be able to detect any changes. And of course, like regular mammograms is really important. So check in with your family members, and also please check in with your medical providers to get the best approach to your health.
Awesome. Next is
Okay.
Elsa. Pass it down, pass it
Yeah.
down.
So my myth is mammogram can cause cancer. That is not true. That's a complete myth. I just learned this the other day. Just you passing or being in LAX gives you more radiation than a mammogram does. So like the amount of exposure to the mammogram, the radiation you're exposed to is less than a regular X-ray. So I learned about that LAX thing, and I was like, huh, that's very interesting.
Like when you go through the TSA, when you go to that thing where they check to see if you have any, weapons. Okay.
Yeah, it's less than that.
Wow. Okay. Well, you guys, no more excuses. Stop making mammograms an excuse, or radiation, because you travel. I know I travel, so no, now I can't have that excuse. I'm just kidding. Okay, it's Eileen's turn. Go ahead and pass the red cup, Elsa.
Oh, I keep forgetting.
It was peeking.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I saw it like peeking out. All right. So my myth that I picked is wearing an underwire bra can cause breast cancer. Oh my God, I feel like this is another interesting one. I feel like even from my aunties when I was younger, I heard, don't wear a bra, or don't wear a bra too early because, it crushes stuff, and, I don't know, just random things, right? And actually, again, this is a complete myth. I'm sure you all know that because we're passing the myths. But the claim really comes from the fact that underwire bras, apparently they compress your lymphatic system. And then supposedly this causes toxins in your body to build up. And so your body doesn't pass it through. It'll accumulate, and then it'll cause breast cancer. And that is completely false. That has been widely debunked as unscientific for many years now. And the consensus is, whether or not you wear a bra, whether or not you wear an underwire, if it's too tight, whatever it is, whatever clothes you wear, that does not, and that has no connection to your breast cancer risk.
Can I just say I'm happy that that's a myth, but I'm also sad because if it was true, that they would stop making these things uncomfortable. Like I'm having to adjust here and there, like it's uncomfortable, you guys. Those are one of the things that is very uncomfortable as a woman, but it is a myth. Underwires do not cause breast cancer. Okay, now we're gonna try passing it on from Eileen to Elsa.
Sorry. Let's see. There you
go. Oh, you're on mute. I did that earlier. I was all like,
sorry. So my myth is little girls shouldn't play basketball because an injury to the breast can lead to cancer later on. That is a complete myth. I'm sure a lot of us heard that before. And there is no research, no evidence that says if you get hit in the breast, you're going to get breast cancer. It's just, let's just debunk that right here. That's completely false.
So to all the little girls that want to play basketball, don't let that stop you. Okay. Especially if, because sometimes myths, I don't know really how myths gets, someone just want to someone just doesn't want their daughter to play basketball. So they're like, oh, you're going to have cancer if you play basketball. And the next thing you know, it's like the rumors spread. And you know how it is, like when you pass that message down to another person, like all of a sudden at the very end, it became a fact. So anyway, now Elsa, you're going to have to pass that cup up to Rainier. Pass it up. There you go.
Okay. This next myth, men can't get breast cancer. Okay, I hear this one a lot, but it's false. Men can get breast cancer too. So, in fact, every year about 2,200 men are diagnosed with breast cancer. That's a lot. But even though the percentage is small compared to women, men should still get their bodies. Men should know that their bodies and like report any changes to their healthcare provider. So it's really important that we still go get checked because we never know, right? Like because we're men, just because we're men, we're never gonna get breast cancer. But it's not true. We can still get it. And then
Right.
I'm gonna pass it to Sweeney.
No, I think that's the last myth. Man.
Oh, okay, that was the last one.
Myth. You answered our last myth. But I hope you guys that are tuning in, have enjoyed just learning something. I hope you picked something up. And if anything, if nothing else, it's just the next time we have family reunions, family events, or anything like that, let's make sure that we ask those questions, the questions that matter. Not if your Louis Vuitton bag is real. No, I'm just kidding. Oops, no. But I think many of our viewers are millennials who may be dealing with this topic and with their parents who may or may not be resistant to going to the doctor's office. What can you advise to those people who may have that issue? Just, hey, ma, you need to go get seen. You need to get screened. And their parents are just like, no, if I die, I die.
I think, it's funny because I just actually had a conversation like this with a friend of mine who's a fellow millennial, and she actually hasn't gone screened in a while too. So I had to tell her, and this campaign was definitely an opportunity to do that, right? Letting her know, hey, like I'm involved in this, you should do this. And I feel like that's kind of something we can tell our parents and our aunties too. I learned about this. I'm just sharing it with you because as a fellow woman, we're family, I care about you. Like, I want to share it with you. And I think also it doesn't have to be like a big dramatic thing too, right? A dramatic conversation we have with our family, almost like an intervention or something. I think putting it in there casually, just talking about, getting screened and normalizing it, I think that's like a really big part of it. And then we can normalize it and get it as a part of our routines.
Yeah, I think one thing you have to start off with is educating yourself. Like we mentioned earlier, you have to know like the screening recommendation, and then you could educate your parents about it. The one thing that I done with my mom is I go to the doctor's appointment with her, so she feels comfortable, so she knows that I'm there. So even going to a doctor's appointment with your parents, or if any of your loved ones want you to be there for support, then I think that's the one thing that you could do.
Thank you so much. And I do, if you guys actually want to, Jason has a slide that you guys have prepared to just talk about the screening real quick, if you want to go through this before we close out our session here. So Jason, go ahead and put up the slide. And so we'll have the slide up here about the screening recommendation, and then after that, if Eileen, if you also want to talk about your next virtual workshop event and the incentive that they can get by attending the event, I would want you guys to do that too after we talk about the screening and everything. As Jason is preparing the slide, I'm like trying to talk and trying to read and then trying to, it's not easy peasy job over here, you guys. But thank you for tuning in. And if you guys are tuning in after this live event, make sure you still share it because it's gonna be posted up. This video will be posted after this event, and this information will live right here in SoCal Filipinos with the over 60,000 members. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to Jason and all the ambassadors for working hard to make sure that we offer and feature actually really great information about our community and things like this, where it's not always just about entertainment, it's also about our health, right? So Jason, are you ready with the slide? I'm not sure. But while Jason is doing that, Eileen, just go ahead and talk about the event that you guys are doing coming up?
Yeah, of course. And I think Jason might have that slide with our workshop. But to everyone watching, to close out our month-long campaign, we are hosting a women's health workshop. This will be on Wednesday, May 25th at 6 p.m. And it is via Zoom, so you don't have to go anywhere for it. And we'll be talking about breast and cervical health more in depth. And of course, during that time, we'll give folks who attend an opportunity to ask any questions that they may have. And everyone who joins the workshop will be eligible to receive a $10 gift card if they complete the survey at the end of the workshop. But
From Target. Is it from Target still?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a $10 gift card from Target. And yeah, you have to attend our workshop on May 25th at 6 p.m.
And if you guys want to do like a family thing, family and friends thing, you guys can definitely contact either Eileen, Rainier, or Elsa, and we'll share their information. I think it might be on that flyer once Jason has it up. But you guys can totally invite your friends. Make it. How long is the workshop, Eileen?
So this one will be an hour.
An hour. And is it usually an hour or?
So that's a great question, Sweeney. So actually, we can definitely customize it to any groups that we are working with. We can make it 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much time we have. So definitely customizable to the groups that we're presenting to.
I'm glad you said that, because I was just gonna say, hey, if you want to get your friends together, if you want to get, if your company, if you guys work at a company and you guys want to kind of just do a team thing and have Eileen, Rainier, and Elsa go through the information about the importance of early screening for HPV, cervical cancer, cervical cancer and breast cancer, and just the information that they shared here today, they can also share with your company. Because you know what, I know you're listening here today and you learned what you learned, but it's hard to like convey that message, so have these experts. This way, I always get confused. Have these experts right here present this information to you guys. Let me know, Jason, if you're almost ready.
If the slide doesn't show up, I think definitely we'll share our Zoom link and information with SoCal Filipinos, so you can look out for that. Oh, there it is. So that's our flyer for our workshop. So gift card incentives for all participants. And so we have our Zoom meeting ID and our passcode there. But if you have any questions, feel free to contact us at that phone number listed, and we'll be able to support.
Is there an Instagram account for this campaign?
So currently we're posting it on our Every Woman Counts Los Angeles Instagram account. It is EWC_Los Angeles.
Or simply just put the hashtag Mabuhay ang mga Pilipina 2022, and I'm sure you can find one of these ladies. You can find the Every Woman Counts as well and everything. So just there's many ways to get a hold of them if you're interested in this workshop for sure. Okay, well, as we come to a close, I'd like to give each one of our guests like really some quick, or maybe just one, because we are like almost we're past the hour too. So if one of you guys can just do like your quick thoughts on Mabuhay ang mga Pilipina 2022. Oh, am I picking? Eileen, go ahead.
I was about to talk and then I know we're closing, but we actually hosted our campaign launch on May 2nd, and 100% of attendees said that our information was helpful and that they learned something. And I think that was like the really important thing that stood out to me as we're doing these workshops and as we're going through this campaign. Every time I meet someone, everyone says they learned something, and I think that's amazing. So I definitely encourage you all to keep in contact with Mabuhay ang mga Pilipina 2022. Share the information, share it with your family, and of course think about how significant it is to our community and how important it is that our fellow kababayans, we all get screened and we keep this knowledge to support us in the future.
Oh my gosh. And on that note, that was a perfect ending to this. On that note, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, you can still share this with anyone you know or attend their workshop or organize a workshop on your own. And again, thank you to SoCal Filipinos for bringing you information like this that could help you live a long and healthy life. Crossing my fingers down here. Thank you guys and have a great night. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.